I was more or less immobilized. There's a lot of stories like the lyrics to the songs he was singing at that time when I met him in April '68. It was "Look at Your Game Girl." It wasn't a lot of it wasn't profound music, but I felt like he was looking right into my mind and heart. The later music, what we call the desert music, Hide Away, Are You Stuck in a Place Where Heartaches You Find, Colder Than Where the Cold Comes From, It's As Bright as the Burning Sun, Deeper Than the Devil's Hole, One Quick Glance and You Know It's Soul, The Fires Are Burning and the Hearts of... In other words, the lyrics, is we kind of all evolved together and made music together. The music got more... it just became incredible. And a lot of what he was singing was like coming right through him. The words would come spontaneous. In fact, on that Lie album, which was some of the early stuff, that was done very spontaneously. A friend of ours named Kathy Gillis had a friend who had a studio, and we just rolled into the school bus and went down to the studio, and most of us didn't even sing. We were too inhibited. And some of the songs that Charlie sang were just old stuff that he had made in prison, like Clang Bang Clang with the Big Iron Door, Look at Your Game Girl. But there was one song that came right out of him, right on the spot, and that was I Once Knew a Man. His heart open, you could see. That's a pretty deep song. He would make rhythms right on the spot that I think Neil Young said that he had never heard rhythms like that before. And they would change, kind of like, Charlie actually did play the tabla drums one time, and he could get into those rhythms that weren't even of our, culture, that were more like with the Ravi Shankar type rhythms.
And you met a lot of musicians with Charlie, didn't you? Beach Boys.
Well, we lived at Dennis's, and I, went to Dennis's studio with him on several occasions. Yeah, there were a lot of people that came and went, but actually, the music would take you into another dimension, and his voice is rich. I mean, he could be a crooner like any of your Las Vegas type torch singers. He can do that kind of singing, very articulate. He has a rich, fine voice. I thought of the image of like golden liquid sunshine, or it's so rich. It's like the gold of his eyes, the deep gold brown of his eyes, and it's so full of feeling. It's music coming from a man that's a full man, whatever that is. It's hard to put into words. You can't put something like it into words. He can sing very loud. He can sing all different ways. He sings in Spanish. He can get into even language that sounds like it's from somewhere else, and rhythms that are somewhere else. He's not bound in any way by anything. His mind is free. His creativity is boundless. So he opens up a whole new door on music. It's a whole new dimension there.
But Dennis used to tell me that he liked a lot of his songs. Of course, the Beach Boys didn't record them then.
Well, they changed Cease to Exist, and they jazzed it up a bit and changed the words.
There was another one, Be With Me, which was recorded on Charlie's birthday.
I never heard of that one. I never heard Charlie sing any song called Be With Me.
Well, he didn't write it all. He's supposed to have collaborated with Dennis on it. He wrote the words, I think, and Dennis wrote the tune. I checked up with Charlie on it, and he said, yes, that was right. No one had spotted that one before. How did you all get on with people like the Beach Boys?
Everybody wanted to have Charlie in their party, in their house. Dennis wanted to live with us. He was going to just drop everything, the recording company and everything, and come and be with us, whether it was living in a tent or whatever. And his brothers basically said, you're bound by contract, and if you renege, we're going to have you committed. We're going to get psychiatric testimony that you've flipped your lid, and so you're a slave to this contract. However many years he was bound, and that was that. Dennis loved Charlie. Actually, I don't think his brothers cared too much for us. Their wives were kind of threatened by us. We weren't out to, steal anybody's boyfriend or husband, but they were kind of threatened by our overall, lifestyle. But we got along with everybody, actually.
Charlie even mentions Elvis. Did you meet Elvis?
I never met him. Charlie met a lot of people. I never met him.
I guess Charlie.
And if I did, I wouldn't have cared. I wasn't impressed by celebrity-dom. I was impressed by Manson. Right. But I wasn't impressed by, by those people.
But his music's finally going to get heard now.
Well, I sure wish that desert music would surface. Some guy absconded with the tapes. The music that's circulating is music that was recorded on a real cheap little old tape recorder in a prison cell. Not under your ideal recording situations. You can't believe how noisy a cell in a prison can be. Very noisy. So I'd like to hear him play with music with Bobby Beausoleil, and the women, the backup that was going on at the ranch, the harmonies were beautiful.
Well, Charlie wasn't the only musician among you, was he?
Gypsy played violin. She was playing violin since she was a little kid. Mary Brunner played flute. Paul Watkins played French horn. Pat Krenwinkel had a beautiful soprano singing voice. Gypsy had a good voice. Brenda had a good voice. Let's see, who else was a musician? French horn, flute. Bobby could play about anything. Clem was real good. Steve Grogan, he was good on guitar. There was a lot of talent. I can't say I could play anything. Actually, I can, but I don't. I never developed it, but I can pick out stuff that... Actually, he's gotten quite good. He was very quiet there. Basically, he was like a stable. He cleaned the barn and stuff, and he didn't really hang out with us that much. He was welcome to, but I think he didn't feel adequate or something, so he really wasn't with us hardly at all.
Did you ever hear a thing called the Manson opera?
Oh, that was ridiculous. That guy in New York City, I talked to him on the phone. Kid from Nebraska, that was complete garbage, absolute garbage. Lyrically, musically, utter trash. It performed at the Lincoln Center. Just a disgrace to play something like that.
I think that was a bad review then.
Bad review? Oh, I just, I gave, I think, an accurate review.
Do you think anyone's done justice to Charlie in music? Anyone who's played his music that you think the way you approve of?
Well, I haven't heard anybody play his music. I think Rose, what's that guy's name, Alx Rose? I don't like the way he did Look at Your Game Girl at all. I didn't like it. And I thought it was pretty tacky of him to just steal it and not even ask Charlie permission. But that's kind of what's been going on for a long time. I'm not familiar. The way the Beach Boys did Cease to Exist, I didn't think it was right for them to change the words, but it was just a song, kind of a light,
You know there's about 50 bands in Europe that play Charlie's songs?
No, I didn't know that. Nobody can do them justice. Nobody, I don't think.
I've got a pretty large collection of people playing.
So I think any man that would steal another man's thoughts and music and, and not give him credit, I don't think that kind of person has much soul, and so therefore their music wouldn't be very soulful or rich or real or authentic. That's why Manson's music moves you, because it's real, it's authentic.
Okay, let's ask you one more huge question. What is the message of Charlie Manson's music?
Whatever is coming through him at that time and at that point and now. It's nothing consciously thought. It's like what the inspiration is at that moment. If you listen to each song, you could probably deduce a message from each one. Now, Bugliosi is very fond of saying how he always sang about death. Well, for instance, there's a song where we're in the background singing, die today, fly high, fly away. Now you are, make love, die today, fly high, fly away. Anyway, it's die to the ego and be reborn. Another one, background, die to be, do die, die to be, do die. It's kind of a jazzy background. So the DAs love to say that was part of the brainwashing. And it's just singing about, ego death, basic Buddhism, basic Christianity, basic Hinduism. But you could deduce a message from each song. I'd say they're all very positive, alive songs. He's not singing about drugs or how groovy drugs are or any of that, or broken hearts. And he's singing about life, singing about survival. A lot of good stuff, a lot of positive stuff.
That's what he's all about. That's what he's all about.
Yeah. He's 60 years old, and you look at his face, isn't it amazing? He's so young. He's been tortured and burned and beat and drugged and all kinds of stuff that you could do, bad things you could do to a human being, and he looks 20 years younger than his age. Because he's alive, born every day, I guess. He's brand new. Just amazing.